Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. I broke my arm in two places. When I went to the doctor, all he told me was, don't go to those two places. Today, we're taking a look at Bloodborne, the board game from Come On. Bloodborne, the board game from Come On, is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game where you are playing a hunter and you're basically in the city of Yharnam and you're fighting monsters, you're unraveling mysteries, and you're basically playing through a series of campaigns. Now, the way this game is set up is it's a campaign-based game. Every campaign is going to have 3 chapters in it, and during those chapters, your characters, your hunters, are going to grow. They're going to get more powerful, but as the chapters go along, the chapters get a little harder and harder and harder. Now, there's actually 4 campaigns in this game, so there's basically 12 different scenarios. There's a lot in this game, so that's a good thing. But how does it play, and what are my final thoughts? Well, I'll tell you what. Let me explain how to play the game, and then I'll give you those final thoughts. So to play the game, the first thing you need to do is get it set up. Now, I'm only going to cover a little bit of the setup, just to kind of give you an idea of what it is. But what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of the scenarios you want to play. All right, and like I said, it's going to have 3 chapters in it. And you're going to have an introductory card, and that'll give you a little bit of a story, and you're going to go through it. It's going to basically tell you if you need to reveal more cards. It's going to tell you what tiles you're going to play. It's going to tell you what monsters are going to be in this particular game and everything else. And you're just going to go through those until you have your initial mission, and you're going to put that in the chapter spot on the hunt board. The creatures, when you put those down in your enemy slots of your hunt board, what you're going to do is you have 2 different sides. You just randomly pick whichever one. If you want to play a particular side, put that one down. But you just put them in the 3 locations. The locations is going to matter because there's an icon above them, and that'll reference where they go on the map when those map tiles are drawn, and also when everything resets. You're going to have the Hunter's Dream. The Hunter's Dream is where you're going to have your stack of skill cards, ones you're going to be able to buy when you go there. You'll be able to use your blood echoes for that. They're going to basically upgrade your deck. Okay. Now, every hunter, when they set up, they're going to have a basic firearm. They're going to come with some sort of a basic firearm, and they can get advanced or other ones later on. They're going to have a number of hit points. You put tokens on for that. You got a spot for your blood echoes when you kill creatures, but you're going to have your trick weapon. So your trick weapon is going to have 2 different sides, and you get to pick at the beginning of the game what side you want it to be on. Okay. But once you have that in place, you're going to have the central tile. Everybody puts their figure there, and you're ready to go. Now, at the beginning of a turn, everyone's going to draw 3 cards, or up to 3 cards you can have in your hand. So, and on your turn, and you can choose turn order however you want in this particular game. But on your turn, you're going to be able to do a few different things. You can just discard a card. Okay, just put it in a discard pile, and you can move 2 spaces. If there's a monster in your space, he's going to move along. He's going to follow with you, but a lot of them only have a follow of 1, so you can actually leave them behind. Okay, it's kind of a way to get rid of them if you're moving far and fast enough. But some do have a follow it too, so be careful. If they're in your space, no matter how far you move, they're still going to be in your space. Okay. You can interact. So if there's a chest token or something like that, you can interact with that item that's in that space. It's going to allow you to draw a consumable card. But if there's monsters in your space, they're just going to go ahead and get an attack on you, so be careful of that. You can discard a card to transform your weapon. So your trick weapon, whatever side it's on, what you do is you would flip it over to the other side. Any cards on it, just go to your discard pile, and now you have a clean trick weapon again. Okay, or you can discard a card and you can go to the Hunter's Dream. Now, whenever you go to the Hunter's Dream, the token that's going to be on the bottom of that hunt track is going to advance 1 space. So you need to go to the Hunter's Dream because that's how you're going to upgrade, but you also got to be careful how many times you go there because it makes the game shorter. Okay, you're going to get to that end scene a whole lot faster. Keep in mind, though, whenever you die, you automatically go to the Hunter's Dream. Now, when you go to the Hunter's Dream, you're going to have blood echoes. That you have to spend to upgrade your skill cards. But if you are slain, whatever blood echoes you have, those you lose. You go to Hunter's Dream, so you can't buy anything, but you're still going to reset. And I'll cover the Hunter's Dream more here in just a little bit. Okay. The next thing you can do is you can attack. Now, to attack, that's a little bit different because what's going to happen is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to play a card from your hand. You're going to put it on your trick weapon in one of your slots. And those slots are going to tell you how fast they are. They're either a fast, a medium, or they're a slow, but they're going to show how much damage they do. And every hunter that is going to have special abilities on their trick weapon. And sometimes they're the same on both sides, or they could be different on both sides. Pay attention to that. All right, but you put your card down. Then what you're going to do for the regular creatures that are on the board, you're going to flip over the enemy activation card. You're going to take it over, and it's going to be either a basic or a special or an ability. You're going to look at that particular monster and see what it does. Now, at that point, then what you can do is you can dodge. So if you have an open spot still that's on your trick weapon and you have a dodge card in your hand, you can play a dodge. But you can only dodge if you are attacking as fast as they are. Okay, so if you're attacking, if it's a slower one, then you can't dodge. So you got to be careful of that one as well. You also have to have the dodge in your hand. All right. But otherwise, what's going to happen is after that's done, then you're going to look at the speeds of the weapon. Whatever weapon is the fastest is going to go first. They're going to deal their damage and do whatever they're going to be able to do. Okay. Now, if you are as fast as the monsters, then all your stuff is simultaneously. But if, say, a monster attacks you because he's faster than you and then happens to leave that space, and then it comes to you, well, there's no longer a monster in that space and you don't get your attack. But if you're still there, you do your attack. If you do enough hit points to kill that monster, he comes off the board, and then you're going to get a blood echo. You put that on your board. And if you do go to the Hunter's Dream by spinning an action card, you'll be able to spin those blood echoes. Now, every blood echo you spin is going to allow you to buy one card. Now, those cards are really good because they're basically way better than the basic cards you have. But whenever you get one of those cards, you have to get rid of one of your basic cards. You always have a deck of 12. You never have more. You never have less. It's always 12. Okay, so you're basically just getting a better and better deck, and you're getting rid of all that basic stuff that's in there. All right, now the one thing you do have on the bottom is you do have the hunt track. Okay, and you see those little red spots in there. Now, whenever you get to those red spots, immediately what you have to do is every monster that's on the board, except for the bosses, you're going to take all those monsters. They're going to be removed from the map. Then you're going to replenish all the consumables that are on the map. So any that have been picked up, you're going to put more back down. And you're going to respawn all enemies that are related to the mission, if any. Okay. Then you're going to replenish all the spawn points on the map, beginning with those that are going to be closest to the hunters. And then the boss enemies, they're not removed from the map, but they're going to be able to heal all their damage. Okay, I'll cover bosses here in a second as well. All right. So basically, it's a way that if they can, just piled up on top of you and you hit one of those red spots, well, they just go away, go back to their spawn points, and now you have a little more freedom again. Okay. Now, the boss monsters, when you fight those, they have their own action deck. Okay, so, and they're a two-phase monster as well. So you start them off in phase 1, you have to complete and kill them and get them down to 0 hit points. And then what you're going to do is once the phase 1's done, then you go to the phase 2, if you can defeat them on the phase 2, and then everything's gone. Okay, and then you can defeat them. But otherwise, basically how everything's going to play is the hunters are going to take their turn. As soon as they're done with their turn, then all the enemies are going to activate. Every enemy is going to activate that is on your tile and adjacent tiles, okay? And they're going to move towards you and try to get to you. If they get into your space, they initiate a combat. If they initiate a combat, then you're doing the same. You're playing a card. You get to see what they're doing. You can dodge, blah, blah, blah. If you don't have any cards in your hand, well, then he's just going to do damage to you. Or if your trick weapon is full, then you can't do anything. Then he's just going to do damage to you as well. Okay, and then we go to the next hunter's phase. Once all the hunters have completed their turns and the enemies have completed their turns after the hunters, then you move the hunt track up. Okay, and this is going to keep going until that hunt track gets all the way to the very end to the final resting spot. If it gets to the final resting spot and you have not completed the mission, then you will fail the scenario and you're going to have to replay it. But if you can manage to go through all of the chapter and all the different missions you're going to have in that chapter, and you're going to defeat all the things you need to do, and you need to do everything that has to get to the completion. Does that make sense? But if you do what it needs to do to get to the completion of the particular scenario, then you will win Bloodborne, the board game. All right, folks, there you go. That was a really high level how to play this game. This game has been out for a little while, so I know there's a lot of stuff on this game. There's a lot of playthroughs. There's a lot of spoiler stuff. I'm trying not to spoil too much. You might see a couple things, but it's just going to be only to the intro of maybe chapter 1. I'm not going to go too deep into stuff. All right. But the confusion in my how to play at the very end, my brain kind of got boggled because sometimes my brain gets really boggled on this game. Now, I'm going to start out by saying I like Bloodborne. Okay, I think Bloodborne is a fantastic game. From what I hear, it's really it's very close, very good to the video game. I've never played the video game, but I kind of would like to, but I probably never will. But it seems like it would be something really fun. All right, I'm just not into video games all that much. But the game itself, it's fantastic. There's some things I really like about this game, and I do have a couple problems with this game as well. Okay, but let's cover what I like. The Hunter's dashboards. I absolutely love the trick weapons, and I like the way that works. Every trick weapon for every hunter is totally different. All right, you're going to have two different sides, and both those sides aren't always the same, and you're going to have the different special abilities as well. And I think that is absolutely cool and absolutely phenomenal. Some of the hunters have very fast weapons on one side and maybe medium to slow weapons on the other side. It just really all depends. There's one of the hunters, can't remember which one it is, but one of the sides, it actually only has 2 slots. So you're having to flip that one over quite a bit and a lot faster. Okay, but it's actually really cool. It's a really cool hunter. I really like playing that one as well. Now you have your firearm. Your firearm is going to be able to do special things. Maybe it's going to help you stagger an enemy or something like that. You're going to flip it over. You can discard a card or 2, depends on the particular weapon. Then you can flip it back to its other side. But that's actually really nice the way that one works as well. Okay, absolutely love that. Now the Hunter's Dream. The Hunter's Dream I think is actually really cool. The Hunter's Dream is where you're going to go and you're going to be able to get some really good skill cards. And if you can get a couple of those blood echoes to where you can go in there and you get a couple cards, swap them out with yours, it's just going to make your character that much more powerful. So if you can do that a couple times in a game, then that's going to, by the time you get to the end game, you shouldn't have barely any basic cards left in your hand. And it's just going to get you that much more. Rather than just doing a regular stagger or a regular, hey, just +1 of damage, you can do a lot of other stuff with them because some of those cards, there's a lot of different things on them, 2 or 3 different things that you can actually do. Absolutely cool. Absolutely love that one as well. Okay. The chapter pieces, I like how it's a deck of cards. You're not just going through a book and doing stuff. I like how every card does something. It references another card. So you have the card in play, it's got your mission, tells you what to do. You might have to put tokens on it to track different things. Certain things are going to happen. Then all of a sudden, boom, this card is, you complete it, and it's like, go grab this card, put it up, boom, now you know what you have to do again. So it's going to keep giving you the different stuff. And the last one I'm going to cover is the enemies. I really like how they do the enemies. The enemies are 2-sided, so you're never necessarily seeing the same enemy twice. One side is definitely a little harder than the other, for the most part, from what I've seen. Balance, I don't know. Some just seem really harder than the others. But you can move them around from game to game to game. That's one of the things that I like. Just because you have one enemy in one spot, you can put that enemy, if you see it again, put it in one of the different spots. So it's going to spawn on that icon on the board. Okay, so you're not always seeing them spawn in the same place. It just gives you a little bit more variety. One of the things I think that's just really cool about the game. Okay, and there's several enemies in this game that you're going to face. You're going to see some of the same ones over and over and over again, but there's still a lot of variety in this game. Absolutely love that. Okay, now when you're building the scenarios out and the campaigns out, you're going to build a deck of tiles. And it's going to say, these are all the tiles that are going to be in play, and you're going to have a number of random ones. Usually it's equal to the number of players times 2. Okay, so in a 2-player game, you may have a stack of, say, 10 or 11, 12 tiles. Plus, you're going to have always your one main courtyard with the lamp in it tile. Okay, that always starts out in play. Now, this is one of the problems that I have with this game. And remember, I really like this game. But I have played some of these games where I pull over my main one mission card. All right, and this is what I know I need to do. And then I might have some what are little side missions. But I pull over that main mission card, and it says, you need to go to this location, and as soon as you get to that location, read this so we can do this. All right, cool. The problem I've had is that tile is on the bottom of my stack, which means I have to fully explore the entire place before I can actually get to that one tile. And I've played some games where the monsters are coming out so furious in their locations, the way they're coming out, I have a hard time exploring all the tiles. As a matter of fact, I think the last game I played, we got to the end of the game. We needed to have a particular tile out in play in order for us to advance from the initial mission, but it was the bottom tile, and we never, ever were able to explore that particular tile, just because that's just the way everything worked out. We had a path that we were going to go do it, and all of a sudden some fog tokens came into play. I'll cover those too. And we were just never able to get back in there and take care of the fog, so we could never get the exploration done because there's too many tough bad guys going the other directions that we could go. All right, that's really my only big gripe about this game, because I can turn around, I can reset that game, and that tile could be the second one down, and it would make the campaign just that much easier. All right. So it sometimes gets really, really hard. There's some other games I played that were kind of the same way as this, where I've played them, and yeah, it's almost impossible to win a scenario, but it depends upon how the tiles come out. they're actually super easy or can be near impossible. So anyways, enough of that. I still like the game. That's just one of those things that's super annoying to me. I know there's ways I could house rule it and everything else, but that's okay. Another cool thing I like about this game, because I like going back to the things that I like. I don't like really digging on the stuff I don't, but I like those little fog gate things. They're annoying as all get up, but in a way, they're also kind of cool because you sometimes have these missions come out and they're going to take a tile and they're going to just turn it into fog, which basically means you're putting a fog gate in all the corners and you're putting a creature in there. And you can walk in there, but you cannot walk out the gate. In order to get out of the gate, you have to spend a card and you have to go over to the Hunter's Dream, all right, which is going to advance the game that much faster. But usually there's something you have to do to kill that one particular character that's in there. Sometimes you have to, kill them a couple times. So once you get them down to 0 hit points, then all of their hit points go away and you got to do it again, get them down, and then you're good to go. All the gates come up or all the fog comes up, and then you can leave and do everything like normal. But one of the things I like about having those fog gates there is I've had times when I've got a mob of guys chasing me and they're pursuing at a speed of 2, which is what my move is. I just run into a fog bank. I just go in there and then they're no longer going to go because the creatures and monsters following you cannot go through the fog gates. So they only have the one guy. Okay. So that helps out a lot having those if you can get them into a location that works really good. I have found in this game to where when you're putting your map tiles down, you always have to make sure whatever map tile you go through that you make sure the doors match. If you have another door and another tile and you put a tile down, you can block it, but then that's no longer a valid path. So you just have to make sure the one that you go into is actually valid. And otherwise you're good to go. But one of the things I found is when I'm playing this game and I'm building out my map, I don't really want to snake the path around. So if you're up here, in order to get from here, but then you want to come down over here, you have to follow this weird path. I want to be able to go from here. I want to be able to go either way. That's how I like to make my maps, just because you never know how fast you got to get across the board. Because I've had places where it's like, I got to go to this location, I got to do something specific, but it's going to take me all 3 of my actions to get there, and then the game is going to end or something's going to happen. Okay, but that's basically about it. This is one of those games where leveling up your characters is so much fun. You want to kill those monsters. Every time you kill a monster, you get a blood echo. And then when you go to the Hunter's Dream, you can spend those blood echoes and you can update your character. Okay, try to get 1 or 2. I always try to have a minimum of 2 when I go there. Just for 1, I don't like it. Now, if you go to the Hunter's Dream, every time you go to the Hunter's Dream, no matter what your hit points are, you're automatically going to heal up all your hit points. You're going to take all of your cards. You're going to shuffle them back up. You can put your trick weapon on whatever side you want. Okay, and then on your next turn, you're just going to grab your hand of 3 cards, and you're going to go to any one of the lanterns, the lamps that is on the board. You just appear in that location, and you take your turn like normal. Okay, but if you're starting a new turn and you're not the first one to go, you're still in the Hunter's Dream until your turn starts. So somebody else can't actually do anything to your character. They can't use a consumable to maybe bring you to them or something else because you're not on the board. So sometimes you always want to be first if you're coming out of the Hunter's Dream, just so that way you're there to be able to help other characters. A lot of strategies in this game. This is a fantastic game. I love playing this game. It is harder than I'll get up. I've won a couple of the chapters a couple times, but it is really hard. It is absolutely really hard. I know some people that do some house rules on this game just because it's so hard, but I think it's fun. I love really hard games. I'm going to keep playing this game. I actually have everything for this. When I backed this, I backed everything. So I have the whole 9 yards, and I want to eventually play through all of them. It's going to take me a lot of time to do it, but this is a fantastic game, and I highly recommend it if you like these dungeon crawly, really dark theme type of games. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, on Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button and even click on the bell and be notified when I drop new videos. And also, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some playthroughs, some unboxings, and some reviews. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. So tell me, what do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back? A stick.